starting to move across, from KWV to... So this is Jozua Joubert's farm, Karibib, on the top of the Polkadraai. Is this the top part of the Polkadraai, essentially, or is it one of three?
I think Jordan probably has some vineyards at the top as well.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you have some of the highest vineyards in the Polkadraai.
Okay, cool. And the Chardonnay...
And Reinica.
And on the Chardonnay, on that, that's on the hilltop. Whereabouts is the Chardonnay on
the Chenin?
Sorry, the Chenin, I apologise.
The Chenin is pretty much halfway up Josh's farm. So, the bottom you've actually got our cab, and then sort of halfway up the hill, even though they're next door to each other, it sounds stupid, is the Chenin. And then if you keep going further and further up, the top vineyards are the Syrah, so the Sons of Sugarland graft vineyards. They're right at the top. And then it kind of wraps around...
So you're in the Grand Cru slope, part of the slope?
Yeah, precisely.
Perfect.
The shitty Syrah vineyards are terrible ones. Yeah, terrible.
Too exposed.
Yeah, exactly. Gross. This sits at 220 metres above sea level, I think. Yeah, 220, 230. So
and just aspect, what way does it face? Is it
basically faces directly at the Helderberg, so it's kind of
okay. So southeast, essentially.
It's more easterly, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, the way you actually situated there.
Okay, so morning sun, protected from the afternoon sun.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a funny little vineyard. It's planted in this, what's the system called? Perrault system. So it's basically a single wire.
Yeah.
It was all trained up on one wire, and then sort of trained along the wire, but then over time they just let it radially sort of go that way. So it's like this sort of wired bush vine, if that kind of makes sense. So it's trained, it does have a cordon, but then it's got like arms that come out the sides. I think that's quite a popular thing in the 70s, 80s.
To get bigger.
Yeah, so just get it up on a wire, establish it, and then let it sort of radially... Yeah, it's an interesting little setup.
So has the... Sorry.
Yeah, 1981.
82.
It's 81.
I thought it was your age.
I looked it up.
Oh,
It's
okay.
81. Thanks for pointing that out.
I'm just throwing it in there.
Classic husband move.
Younger husband move.
Nothing to do with the fine age.
At least you got the year right, though. That's
Exactly.
It's one step above me. I get every year wrong all the time. Tim Martin had been working with the fruit a little bit before you, but not long before that, it was going to KWV. I think it was for sweet wine.
Big sweet wine, yeah.
To
my knowledge.
Has the vineyard architecture changed in that time? Have you been pruning it differently?
Pruning. I mean, it all started with Tim.
Yeah.
Tim started that the year before us. So in the winter of 14, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. Tim Martin from...
So it was, he
Tim
released this one
Martin
under Mothership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
He got us into this vineyard, and then he subsequently bailed out of this vineyard and wine. It changed drastically. So he and us the following year pruned it back to sort of table wine level, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So basically, instead of just leaving a heap of shoots to grow fruit, you're cutting it back and trying to make quality. So that changed it a lot. And then it's obviously farmed with a whole bunch of chemicals, which you need to at 15 tonnes a hectare. And then we sort of eradicated that. So it's changed drastically.
And did you eradicate that over time, or was it sort of like cold turkey?
Quick, actually.
Yeah, the herbiciding was quick, and then Josh
was quite keen to get it organically farmed as an experiment for the rest of the farm.
Yes, right.
So he did all the practices without us even really having to ask
Right,
too
okay,
much.
so it's like a test case for him
Normally
to
it takes
see.
a few years,
Yeah,
but
right.
with him it was quite quick.
Okay. And yield now, what are you getting off that now?
So we get about 5 tonnes now a hectare.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And is it
It has
increasing?
dips below.
Okay.
It did.
Got down to about 3.5 for a few years, but now it's back up to 5 and beyond.
Okay, nice.
Which is good.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you think the equilibrium will be about, like 8 or something?
No, I don't think we'll ever get that
I
high.
think 6.
Yeah.
6,
Or
okay.
Six
cool.
would be good.
Ever get.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a nice yield.
Nice. And then Chenin, what was the inspiration behind getting Chenin on the books?
South Africa, eh?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's one of the grapes we do, I guess. And, it's because it's so prolific, I think the hardest part for us was trying to find a vineyard that, kind of suited what we wanted to do, and also find a vineyard that no one else was. I mean, Tim was working with it, but he did mention he was kind of not going to use it anymore.
Yeah.
And sort of no one, I mean, apart from Brevet, actually, who was obviously the king of the Polkadraai, wasn't many other people really making much Chenin there or focusing on Chenin there.
I mean, you'd made a fair bit of Chenin at Mulderbosch, and I mean, how much Chenin were you making at Dornier?
We were making a bit.
Yeah, okay.
But it was all mostly from the estate.
Yeah, okay.
And then they bought from Swartland.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And from Sonop, which is in Polkadraai.
Yep.
Yes, there was a little bit
Yeah.
that was bought in
But
as
I mean,
well.
Mulderbosch, you were doing those single vineyard Chenins.
Yeah.
Christian and I had a 2012 recently, which was kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my favourite, because we used to make the 3, and my favourite was always, actually there was 2 that were really good. But one was right next door to Karibib, essentially. It was it had that sort of nervy tension, that real sort of mineral drive, and it's like, this is a great little region for Chenin. So yeah, those vineyards no longer exist, they're Cabernet, but it's a different story.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I love the salty edge on this one. It's there, but it's not too dominant, and it adds a real sort of savouriness to the fruit. You said you're making this with concrete now. This is the first vintage you said was 100%.
New concrete.
New concrete.
I don't know if it changes over time.
Yeah.
It's true,
Second
we
fill
don't actually
concrete
know.
next year.
Yeah, right.
What
Sam?
is the concrete? Is it an egg? Is it a square? Is it
It's in a trapezium-y thingy. So it's like, you see those tulip sort of shaped concrete tanks? They're kind of like tapered sides up to a top. It's kind of like that, but it's got a flat bottom. So it's not like a true egg, so to speak, but the sides are sort of tapered. It's a funny looking little thing. It looks like it's coming out of Star Wars.
Does that have like an influence? Like they say that egg
Don't know.
suspends the feather, you know?
Yeah, but like the thing is
We'll
like
stick Jeanine in there and we'll
tumble dry.
see how she goes.
See what happens.
Yeah, it's like an egg. Like if you eat a boiled egg, you take the top off.
Yeah.
Take the
Dip
bottom
the
off as well,
soldiers
and
in.
then you're good.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We don't have
I
a
think
trial.
it definitely gets...
And so you went from 100% wood to 100% concrete in 1 year. Are you happy with the results? What's the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a
Absolutely.
drastic
Best
change.
move.
Yeah.
Personally.
What did the concrete bring? Do you think?
I think it just like we found with the other 2 ones, the Pinot Gris and Cinsault that we moved to concrete, just kind of tightens everything up and just adds a layer of purity to the wine that, while old barrels are great and I think it really works well for the Chardonnay, I just think with Chenin it sometimes can just tuck in those loose sides over here. You
What's
know?
all about?
Yeah, it's like a garter belt for Chenin sometimes.
It's rigid over here. Man.
Yeah, it keeps it, we're looking for purity and focus in the wine. I think it just really has helped enhance that in this wine.
It does seem a more precise example than even like in 21.
Less
for
rough
example,
edges.
was a precise vintage. But this seems more precise than the 21. So it's going to be interesting to see in a more structured vintage how that goes as well, because this feels like it has a real sort of directional power on the palate. Like it really is quite from front to back. Not super wide, but I think that'll come with time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lovely sort of core of, yellow and earthy stone fruit coming through, a little bit of nuttiness, some nice spice, and this is obviously all from the grapes and maybe a little bit from the stems from pressing. You think? Or?
Yeah, I mean the same as the Chardonnay. The juice is very dirty. It's not.
Yeah.
We don't settle it hectically, so there is a lot of that. Like people often ask if there's any skin contact with that shit, but it's just. I think it's a very heavy, dirty ferment.
Yeah.
But it just comes from, skins that break down in the press, essentially.
Yep.
So did you say that's a whole bunch as well?
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
And as you said, this is the second vintage. 22 was the second vintage in your new setup, and virgin area, so no ferments in that building before. So all of these ferments are.
We're next door to Stellenbosch Vineyards. Maybe
Maybe
that's some powerful yeast that
Just
comes
drifts
over.
across.
Yeah.
Just across, just races to
Next to the effluent.
Has everything been racing through? Has
Oh
it?
yeah. Zero issues.
We are pretty far away from them, to be fair.
But that's interesting as well, because it's you were making the wine at Mulderbosch for a while, and obviously that's not your own space.
Sure.
And then now it's your own space. You can control it.
Yeah.
Temperature, space. Format in terms of all that sort of stuff. It seems to me like a rapid change, and with a rapid increase in quality. Is that going to? Have you got more things that you need to plan ahead that you need to instigate, or are you about where you need to be to sort of plateau off and start sort of going really nitty-gritty, fine details?
I don't really
Or have
know.
you got any big changes to make in the next couple of years?
No,
I think we'll just be fine-tuning.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe getting a bit more concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah. here
Cool.
and there.
Yeah.
I don't know what more we can do.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
running out of ideas.
Yeah. Right.
If they're shit now, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Well, if they're shit now, they're going to get shitter, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, look, I think the big thing
It's
is
vineyard.
21 was moving into a new space, which is
Yeah.
obviously quite a big thing.
Mm.
And then, yeah, 22, and we've always wanted, we keep talking about concrete, but we kind of have to. That's just been a process of adding over time. We've always wanted to use it for the Chenin and use it for the Cinsault and use it for the Pinot Gris, but, you know, it's a bit naive to buy it all and put it in someone else's winery. So I think
Yeah.
now we've got our own space. I think that's just been, it's always been part of the plan. It's just now we're actually able to execute it, which is good.
The Roman ruins are still
Yeah.
up, so their concrete
Yeah,
must be all right.
exactly. Italians know how to make good concrete tank.
They've been doing it for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Is
we've
it-
worked with them before, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things, you got to be, it's quite a thing to invest in. I mean, they're not exorbitant by any stretch, but it's more of a physical investment. Like you're buying these things that weigh 6 tons.
Yeah. And
You
you're
want
going
it
to
to
have
be
them
sound.
for life. You know,
Yeah.
this is it. We're not going to
Um,
buy another concrete tank.
You know, we've
This
worked
is-
with these before at other wineries, this brand or this producer, so we know what we're getting. Yeah, and the guys here, I hope they do well. I mean, it's awesome that they're making them, but, you know, when we're buying our stuff, we just wanted to be sure. Yeah.
It's the same with people buying barrels. You know,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. There's a few
you obviously
producers
buy
now.
what you know.
Yeah, I met one of the guys Bernie's working with. He's
Yeah.
making some stuff, because obviously Bernie he makes it pretty much in a broom closet. So he needs sort of, he needs sort of fairly specific dimensions. You know, yeah.
And typical Bernie loves it because they get the sand from bloody next door to his farm, so it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, exactly.
terroir-driven concrete, and yeah,
It's made out of his grandfather's bones, essentially. So,
ground up.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously different needs require different solutions. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a mission to import them, but it's actually not. It's pretty straightforward.
As long as you pay the bill, they arrive.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
And I mean, you're paying literally 20% more than you would pay for a stainless steel tank made here.
Yeah.
It's not like that
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
And also, we're not buying new oak barrels. So if you start weighing up those costs and
Yes,
price per litre
Yes.
and the length of time that you'll use the concrete tank, they're actually pretty affordable.
But lifetime per bottle going through will be
Yeah.
negligible. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right.